Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, whether you're joining us live or you're going to be watching this recording a little later as we post it on our social media. I am here with Arrive Alive California, the CEO, Angela Kellog. We're here part of our SADD series, Going Digital, where we just bring to you the best educators on how to keep yourself safe with regards to traffic safety for all of you advisors and students out there who are figuring out how to transition in this new digital time. So without further ado, I will let our panelist today, Ms. Angela Kellog, go ahead and introduce herself.
Good afternoon, guys. Crazy weather out there, crazy times we're in, but this is exciting because we're all trying to figure out how to go about our daily lives with some normalcy, and we're just really creating a new normal for our 9 to 5s, or our day in and day out with your schooling as well. But that doesn't stop there. It also goes into some of our behaviors and our lifestyle choices, even in these times. So I'm thrilled to be here with you guys today, and look forward to answering questions later, possibly as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Angela when I first started SADD in December. I went up to Sacramento to this event called Real DUI in Court, and I hadn't heard of it before since I was down in Temecula. And when I saw the event, I was pretty shocked to see that what the event was. They were conducting like a real DUI hearing at school, and with the judge, with lawyers, prosecutors, all in front of a live audience of, say, around, like, I think 500 students. And I had never seen such a captive audience, because usually it can be hard to get students' attentions. So I was wondering if you could maybe, and that was when I got to meet you and get to be acquainted with Arrive Alive. So I was wondering if you could tell us, how did you get started with Arrive Alive?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have been bringing what's called the Real DUI Court in Schools program to schools we're on our 11th year in Sacramento County specifically, and we're funded by OTS, Office of Traffic Safety. They provide the grants and have. And about 2 years ago, they said, Angela, let's go big or go home. Let's take it all the way across the state of California. So we, although very solid in Sacramento still to this day, we took that model of what we do, which is a 90-minute presentation, and it's a real court case that we transfer from the courthouse downtown and we bring it into the schools. So it's in an assembly format, 90 minutes, and the students get to hear the sentencing for a first-time DUI offender. They also get to hear from the defendant. The judges make a presentation, attorneys, and then law enforcement as well. And then we'll conclude with a victim story as well. So it's powerful. It moves fast, and again, we took the model from Sacramento for the last 11 years and expanded this out to many counties throughout California. We're in 7 counties now. This year, we were going to be rocking it, yes. And because of the current situation and state of affairs that we're all in, not just you guys at home, but even us old people that have to work, we're all adjusting and adapting to our new normal. And so we are actually taking our live presentation and we're transferring it over to having it be an online version. And really, it's the exact same components. You get to see a court case, a real court case. The attorneys deliberate back and forth. You hear the facts of the case. You get to hear from the defendant and then also from the court members as well. So we're adjusting, and it's going to even be, I don't want to say it's going to be better than our real live assembly, but it is going to be comparable and very educational at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's very important, especially nowadays. Like, students are at home without a lot to do. I know my sister's in school, and she's been playing the Switch and watching a lot of Netflix, and she's kind of happy that there's not a lot to do. But I think this is now more important than ever to get the message out there.
Right.
and get
Well,
that content out there while their students are kind of captive and on their phones and on digital platforms.
exactly. Exactly. And what I'm working with the school districts right now, there's a lot of going on behind the scenes. And for the students that will actually, I mean, what's the push for you guys to do this on your days off, if you will, uh, for them to offer extra credit, because not only is it a prevention program, but it's also educational. So you get to learn, it's two-pronged approach, is you get to learn about the judicial system, legal terms, economics. There's so many different lessons that can be learned just in this 90-minute presentation that will be extremely beneficial. So the school districts are possibly going to allow, if a student views this, goes through the evaluation, we'll have some check and balances, you'll get extra credit. And I mean, let's be real, who doesn't want extra credit to be applied into any of the different classes you need? So again, getting the prevention out there and still very educational is huge.
That's true. I can imagine like a lot of government classes or even health ed classes that could use this type of information, because I think teachers at this point are kind of like clawing for things to give to their students, especially
what can we do
over a digital platform. So that's really
right.
great. And I think especially digitally, the accessibility for a lot of students that won't be able to, don't have a school that hosts this program will be a pretty great reach. That's pretty.
Right.
That's pretty
And then those that go through this class, or if you will, the online version, you will qualify for us to come to your school once school's back in session. So whether you're graduating or not, as long as someone or a junior or freshman, anyone can go through the class, it will qualify your school for us to have a live version next year. So again, this is an invitation only program. So this will put your name. I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of schools out there. So how do we narrow them down? Is one, you guys are already participating as a SADD chapter in your school. A lot of the schools that do the every 15-minute programs or things like that, that we can come in and be a support to you just in a different manner. Through the live assemblies. And I did find something very interesting last night. I saw in the news, I know an old thing, but in the news, online alcohol sales, check this out, have skyrocketed 243%.
Wow.
Overall US alcohol consumption, the states are saying it's up 55% from this time last year. And I find it very interesting, you guys, because it only takes 21 days to form a new habit. So right now, you guys can be forming either really great habits or really bad habits that you'll have to break. So even though you get to do your online schooling and your online fun, this will come to an end. I promise you there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we will go back to our lives. So make sure that these good decisions you're making now will transfer over once we're all free to carry on, you know?
Yeah, that's really interesting statistic about online sales of alcohol. I've heard that like at Costco or Trader Joe's that the alcohol section has been bought out when the quarantine first happened. So yeah, for a lot of those folks out there, this is a very trying time to perhaps get into some rash or bad decision making. And especially now that not a lot of people are quote unquote driving as much, people might feel emboldened to be making some questionable decisions. So 21 days have already passed, and another 21 days to form new habits, hopefully. Hopefully
exactly.
for sure. So for some of our SADD advisors out there, a lot of schools will say, oh yeah, we have every 15 minutes, but it only happens like 3 years. And so they might be listening to this program and thinking that, oh wow, it'd be great to get Arrive Alive out here. What does it take to? I'm sure putting on the program itself is it can be a lot of work. So what does it on your end to get all the pieces together to put it on at a new school?
Right. Actually, we will take care of everything for you. I work in conjunction with a lot of the every 15-minute programs out there as a student counselor. This is nothing compared to planning with that. The hardest thing that you guys have to do is contact me on our website at www.realduicourt.com. send in a message, just email me right there, and that will be the most difficult thing you have to do in us finding a date that works with the calendar of the court and your school. We handle absolutely everything else. We'll handle qualifying a defendant, we'll handle the coordination, we bring in our own sound and audio, we bring in everything. We even handle the media, because this is an actual real case. Media has to come out too, or they're invited as well. So we'll take care of all the details. All you guys have to do is just contact us.
That's really great here. I'm sure a lot of our schools would want to get in contact. So again, once the online program comes out, be the first ones to enroll and try it out and get your likelihood of bringing Angela and Arrive Alive and the Real DUI Court and School program at your school to be a great supplement to all the other stuff that you all are doing. So one interesting thing about the program when I watched it was just I think just how real it was, and how nothing was fake. Like everything was seemed completely legitimate. So I'm kind of curious, what have you noticed is kind of like the biggest impact that this program has had on students that have attended it?
You know, we hear back from the students. The first question, of course, after we talk with them, we'll go out in the quad and have our law enforcement officers who participate with us, or even their community school resource officers will be out there doing simulated FSTs, field sobriety test with the fatal vision goggles, just to keep the conversation going. And what we have found is obviously the number one question: are you sure this was real? This wasn't a mock in any way. And I think the impact of hearing from a judge and hearing from a district attorney and a public defender and the defendant, questions that they may have, because we do open that up. The 90-minute presentation includes a portion that the kids get to ask anyone on the stage any question that they have. And believe it or not, instead of continuing myths that they might believe about impaired driving or graduated driver's license or any other thing like that, they can ask right then and there from a judge or a law enforcement officer the question that they might have. And I think that is a huge impact for the kids. And then realizing that we do this for them, grant funded, so everything is taken care of. But we bring these programs in, and this defendant, believe it or not, volunteers to be a part of this program. So in a sense, they're actually seeing someone very brave, although made a very bad decision, is bringing their story into their school to make a difference and say, don't do this. You know, this is how it's affected me and my life and my future. So just helping them out in that area.
Yeah, I think for the couple that I've attended, looking at the defendants, and a lot of them were also my age, and were the things that they did that landed them their DUI are things that I've seen my peers, especially when I was in college, or even graduating out of college, seeing my peers do. And it's not a matter of my peers being lucky that they haven't been caught or not. It's just a matter of time before something could happen. And so I think seeing the defendants and hearing their story for sure helps generate a lot of empathy for me to be like, whoa, that could really happen. And that could happen to any one of us if we're not making the right.
And it's 100% preventable. It's 100% preventable, especially with all of the tools we have. We have Uber and Lyft and, you know, friends or, you know, parents or loved ones that we could call. And that's really what we set aside at the very end of the presentation. We set them with a challenge, and the challenge is to go and take the information that they've learned, which is enormous, really, and take that information, share it with their friends and family, and make a pact. That challenge is you make a pact with one another. That I heard a dear friend of mine who's an attorney say, you know, friends don't let friends live in body bags, you know, or go in body bags. And there's a lot of truth to that. Make a pact with one another that should you need a ride at any time, that they would be available, your parents, whatnot. Because I guarantee you, at the end of the day, they'd much rather get a phone call at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning than a knock on the door from a chaplain saying that you're never coming home. You know,
Yeah.
this is the reality of the situation. And life is too precious. Life
Mhm.
is worth living. And that means making good decisions along the way.
Mhm.
You know, we're all free to make choices in our life, but what we're not free to do is alter the consequences behind the choices. So make good choices that have good results.
That's great. I think the message of making good choices is something that's been consistent. One message point that I'd love to hear was in Sacramento. One of the prosecutors was saying, "Hey, just have a plan." Like having a
Have a
plan
plan.
being like a great message tool. Because that was something I remember when I was in school. We never really talked about having a. That wasn't part of the messaging when I was growing up. It was more of
Right.
just like stay away, don't do it. And so I love how like having a plan and inviting parents to be a part of the solution has been a part of the messaging. Is there any way that you've seen kind of the message evolve since your time working with the Arrive Alive?
You know, I have. I've really seen it's more of what we're accepting in our how, how do I put this? It's Let me give you an example. So in the 80s, when the seatbelt laws started to come out, there was 2% of the population that used seatbelts. That's
Really?
two, two people, 2%. You look at that now at who wears seatbelts, and it's 99% of the people wear seatbelts today. So it's changing the message and it's changing our social norms.
Hmm.
It used to be acceptable back in my day. You can have a beer or a glass of wine. It's not going to be a big difference to your driving. It does. Scientifically proven, the moment it touches your lips, it changes the chemistry in your body. That's reaction time. That is a sight, distance, everything that is required when you drive.
Hmm.
So it's really going in and changing the social norm of it even being acceptable. And having the plan goes alongside that. If you're going out to celebrate someone's birthday or graduation's coming up, or quarantine's done, it's okay to celebrate. Be wise in your choices. With freedom comes responsibility. So do that. Have a plan to be wise. So I think it's changing the social norms, what's acceptable and what's not. Going back in the day, it's not socially acceptable. Now we have all the science behind it about
Hmm.
how safe we are when we have our seatbelts on. Now we have enough information to know we are safe when we are sober. So let's not divert from that plan and carry on.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think changing the social norms is all about the type of work that we do, especially with SADD
Right.
and Arrive Alive. And I think those direct service type of events, such as the Real DUI in court, are very great ways to change the norm, especially
Right.
everyone who gets to interact with it.
Right.
Um, one other
Exactly.
question we have, I think, just to throw a little curveball to students, we have students sometimes asking us, "Oh, marijuana laws, like marijuana is legal. Like I drive better when I'm high. Like it makes me more attentive." What would you say to people who? Because I think sometimes the law isn't, or it's clear, but I think the information isn't dispelled correctly. What would you say to students who might ask questions about marijuana laws and driving?
Very great question. And that's really where we're at today. Because marijuana is legal, um, we are running into this being right up there with alcohol, if not surpassing it in some of our cases that we're seeing. And it's just impairment is like when we're talking about DUIs, we're talking about impairment is impairment of the brain,
Mm,
whatever substance that is. Marijuana is not legal for anyone under 21. So let's just cut the crap right there on that one. These kids are like, well, I have a medical marijuana card. Well, let's put it in perspective. You still cannot drive impaired, and marijuana impairs your ability to drive and operate a vehicle safely. So, you know, I it's sad because I'm working on a case right now where a 19-year-old killed 3 people and he was high on marijuana.
Mm.
And we're talking the rest of his life, and the 3 lives, one was a family member, 2 were not, they're destroyed. Marijuana does kill. Put it in the right context. When you're driving impaired, you are a lethal bomb on the road. And it's your responsibility as the driver to be in your right mind. And marijuana is an intoxicant, So, um, you know, I've seen the statistics. 2 out of 3 teens believe they drive better on marijuana. And
Really?
yeah, I saw that and I could not believe it. And so it's really, I think that's where it is so important to get programs out like the Real DUI Court in Schools program to as many youth as we can to tell them the truth. I mean, who better to bring the truth to than a judge, a defense attorney, a district attorney, and law enforcement.
And the defendant
to answer the questions, and the defendant too. But these programs, it's difficult to get them to a courthouse, so that's why we bring the courthouse to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's things like this, because otherwise we're going to start spinning off on these statistics of, well, kids believe this stuff, that I'm more concentrated. Oh, I've seen enough cases, they're so concentrated in that pole and they go driving right through it too. So I mean, we just have to debunk a lot of these things that are going on, with things that are not true, and that's one of them. Yeah. Driving under marijuana is not a good idea at all. It's illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal. I think it's great that you're bringing the information to them and in a way that's much more accessible. Because I think asking students to go to a courthouse would be hard. It'd be hard. I think navigating that whole system for them would be really difficult. So it's great the program really.
And the sad thing is there's these cases, driving impaired, and DUI cases are going on all day long in multiple courthouses a day. So we're not talking about this being an issue over here or over there. This is an epidemic, believe it or not, that is completely preventable. And it's happening across our nation. Every 2 minutes, someone is injured in a drunk driving accident. Every 53 minutes, someone dies. So, I mean, we're talking, this is something that does need to be out there. We do need to change the social norms, have the plan, and get the word out. It's just not acceptable.
Yeah, definitely. And these conversations are kind of the seeds for that. I know, so with marijuana, even if it's medically prescribed, you are still driving under the influence if you're taking it, right?
Correct. That is correct. Same way with
drugs, right?
Prescription drugs. Prescription drugs are the same thing. Even if they are prescribed to you, it doesn't matter. Let's just put it in perspective. You can get a DUI if you drink too many Monsters, if you drink too much caffeine, if you drink, there are certain things that create a stimulus in your brain, and it makes you drive erratically. And that's how one of the laws is written, is the fact that if it impairs your ability to operate a vehicle safety.
Yeah.
Any
driving
substance.
Under the influence, and that could be influence of anything.
Any substance. Correct.
Alcohol,
and we
marijuana.
have drug recognition experts. Now, let me tell you, our law enforcement is incredible. And we have the best trained law enforcement out there. They're called drug recognition experts. Mm-hmm. And they can identify what substance or substances that someone is on. Your body doesn't lie. And there are certain facts that your body, from your eyes to your temperature to your heartbeat, everything that they can identify, and it holds up in the court of law. It's scientifically proven. So they do know how to identify substances.
Right. Can't fool them.
You can.
You can try.
No. Yeah.
So one of our last couple questions, if you had a microphone that could just communicate to all the students around California or even the nation, what's one piece of information or advice that you'd want to leave them with?
You know, going on the theme of, driving under the influence, if it makes you feel different, it's going to make you drive different. It's probably just as basic as you can get. But really, it's making good choices along the way. Your futures are something to live for, and not just in a mediocre, I'll get there, but you getting there and fulfilling your destiny is huge. And that's when I named Arrive Alive California. Arrive Alive is not just about meeting your destination. It is about meeting your destiny and doing it at 110%. And really, it's up to you. You don't have to be a victim of your circumstance. You don't have to stay where you're at, but you can excel. But those excellence decides on your choices. So make good choices.
Love that. For any students out there that are going to watch this, make good choices, arrive to your destiny 110%. That's great. I'm keeping that for me, for sure.
Come on, take that. I didn't even write that down, Kevin. I mean, come on.
That's it. That's the soundbite. That's what
that's it.
we're
There it is, right
gonna be
there.
posted on social media.
Awesome. And I will also give the phone number at 916-761-2649. You guys can call or text if you want to find out more about bringing the Real DUI Court in Schools program to your school. You can jump on our website as well at www.realduicourt.com.
Yes, and follow them on Instagram as well. Always keeping us updated.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
All of it, all the social media.
All of it. It's good stuff.
So for our last question, I want to give you a nice feel-good question to end it out. What's some of the favorite memory or favorite feeling you get from doing the work with Arrive Alive?
Oh my gosh. What's a favorite? A favorite is when the kids come up that have been impacted, that have had their lives changed by a drunk driver, or here, I'll throw another statistic out, is 1 in 3 people will have someone that they know be involved in a drunk driving accident.
Oh, wow.
A drunk driving crash, excuse me. And after we do a presentation and someone comes up, I cannot tell you how many times this happened, multiple, and they come up with tears in their eyes and tell me their story of whether it be, their cousin who was killed in a drunk driving crash, or their parent, or a dear friend. And they thank us for the work that we do at that level. A youth that takes time out to say thank you for what you're doing, that impacts me greatly. When I'm out on in an event and somebody comes up and says, I want you to meet my mom, I want my mom to meet you, and this is who I was telling you about, they came to my school. Or I was at a brunch the other day with my dad, and the waitress came up and says, you don't know who I am, but I sat through one of your presentations, and I'm in college now, but I'm the designated driver, and you impacted my life. And I don't take any of the credit. I take it as a team effort, 100%. We're all in it together. And to have that kind of effect on somebody's life, to make good decisions, that's the reason why I do it.
Well, thank you for the work that you do. We're definitely appreciative of it and love collaborating with you and seeing you at the different schools. And so, SADD Nation, you all know how to get in touch, find them, and please bring them to the schools if you can. It's an amazing program. And if you can't see the physical program, stay tuned to find out that digital program that you can use for your students and for yourselves as well. Get all that great education. So thank you, Angela. We really so appreciative of you talking to us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for your time. Please give us a contact, a shout out, like us, follow us. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll just keep making great decisions. I know that's your mission. That's why you all are together, is freaking earbuds. That's the whole reason you're a part of SADD, and I think that's fantastic. So Let's do this together. Let's change the social norms and be the leaders.
Thank you. Yeah, be the
Thank you.
leaders. So we'll talk to you later, Angela. Hope to see
Sounds
you at
good.
the next Real DUI in court
Okay.
very soon, hopefully, or
Yes.
online.
Oh, or online. We'll come together soon.
Yes. Thank
All
you
right,
very much.
Kevin.
Talk to you later.
Thanks. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.